Hey everyone, it's Erik Thor here, and in today's video we're talking energy hacks for you as an INTJ or an INFJ. So what I've found is most INTJs and INFJs, due to their inferior extroverted sensing, tend to experience a discomfort with going outside, being in nature, being around other people, being in the spotlight, being where other people can see you, but also putting out your own content and thoughts into the world, speaking out for yourself, getting attention to yourself, sharing your ideas, publishing your thoughts, presenting your work to other people. All these things seem to be held with some degree of discomfort for the INTJ and the INFJ personality types. What I've found though is that typically doing these things seems to be very beneficial for balance as an INFJ or an INTJ. As this tends to create this feedback loop where, while these experiences feel uncomfortable, a lot of the time embracing discomfort allows you to learn, gain experiences and perspectives that allow you to improve the quality of your work. And so typically, hack number one is learn to connect with nature, learn to connect with the outside world, learn to push through the discomfort, just like pushing through exercise or sports or other experiences. These things can help you to really gain the experience and life experience that allows you to form better and smarter theories and concepts and a wider and deeper understanding and consciousness and connectedness with the world itself. Hack number two is spend time engaging in art and music, and spend time looking at symbols like the mandala, like different forms of archetypes and images throughout history, like going through different museums and things like that, right? Because typically it seems like this seems to be like firewood for introverted intuition, which means that it's easier for you to basically interpret and gain perspectives and ideas that allow you to think and reach new kinds of insights. After doing that, hack number three would be to spend a lot of time thinking about the principles of those art pieces. Like, what do they mean? What principles and rules were made to bring them to life? What does this say about humanity? What does this say about society? What does this say about the world? Using logical thinking to effectively decode symbols and art and music allows you to really stimulate your NI nerves and to experience higher levels of introverted intuition. Hack number four would be to create an iterative process. A lot of the time, INFJs and INTJs tend to be very perfectionistic. They want to get it right on the first go. You want to formulate a theory or concept that will work 100% of all scenarios and examples and situations, and you want it to be perfect. And you don't want to be caught naked, right? You don't want to be caught without clothes. You don't want to be caught in a situation where other people can laugh at what you did and say, hey, that doesn't work and that doesn't fit with reality and that doesn't really explain anything and that the pattern is incorrect, right? But often INTJs and INFJs that succeed tend to have an iterative process, which means they go between formulating theories and concepts and then going out into the real world and then going back inside to reflect and revise and improve their theories and concepts and then going back out into the world again. So having this kind of an iterative loop of working seems to be the most beneficial for INFJs and INTJs that want to succeed. And hack number five is mastering the pendulum effect. Basically what I mean with the pendulum effect is learning to swing back from two extremes. So typically if we have the INFJ or the INTJ in their workshop or in their research room, like thinking and spending a lot of time pondering different problems in life and thinking about, why they are here and what they're doing and where they're going and, thinking about their future, what their plans are, where they want to do, what their goal in life is, so like all these things, right? If you're often spending time in that situation, learn to also spend an equal amount of time going out and taking action. So learn to translate the theories and speculation and prediction that you use by yourself and learn to formulate practical steps of action that you can start taking in the here and now, right away, right? So find like small, simple things that you can do that will get you a bit closer to answering the questions that you have. And if you can't find the answers to a question and if you find yourself stuck in a tunnel vision, hack number six is learn to recognize when you're stuck, right? Because it's so easy to spend time, on a problem, thinking about it over and over again and constantly trying to figure out what it is and alienating yourself from other people, distancing yourself from others until you figured it out. And a lot of the time the thought is, I have to spend time by myself until I know the answer, right? But a lot of the time, often, if you don't know the answer, you don't know the answer. And if you don't know the answer, instead of asking yourself what the answer is, you should be asking yourself what you can do to figure out the answer. And that's, what do I need to do? What do I need to study? What do I need to read? What do I need to learn in order to figure out this question, right? Because of course, while there's a lot of things that you can solve simply through thinking about it for a very long amount of times, it certainly doesn't help to rely on tools. And so the next hack is to learn to rely on tools. Learn to rely on books, learn to rely on the internet, learn to rely on other people, learn to rely on machine learning like ChatGPT and other tools to clear your head, to find blind spots in your thoughts, to notice issues with your thinking, to rephrase questions, to find the right question. And really, that's hack that's the next hack. That's reformulate questions, right? Because a lot of the time you can get stuck on one question, but often if you can't find the answer to a question, it's often a good idea to ask yourself a different question. Something I found that's very powerful was like rephrasing questions differently, right? Because perhaps you're just asking yourself the wrong question. Perhaps you're getting yourself stuck in this one question or problem, but you've got the base fundamentals wrong. You've got even the very starting point wrong. You got the question wrong, right? And in those situations, I'd say, rephrase the question to something different and see if that makes it easier. It doesn't have to be very different. It can just be a small change of wording or a small change of how you look at it. And of course, that's already going to put you in a better position than what it was before. The next hack has to do with prediction. So, for example, pay attention to when you predict something or speculate about something and make a strategy for something. Pay attention to the consequences of your strategies and planning. Notice the bad effects, notice biases, notice problems in execution and things like that afterwards. So formulate a strategy and a plan and then go and execute that plan and strategy, and then afterwards spend time critically thinking about, could I have done better? How could I have done it differently? What factors did I miss to consider? What adjustments should I make? What are my biases? Like, am I, for example, overly positive, or am I overly negative or pessimistic? Learn to notice these things and account for them in your strategizing and planning. And because of you doing that, you'll already find that your planning is going to be a lot more accurate, and that you're going to have more effective strategizing, and that you're going to get it right more often than you did before. The next hack, I would say, is learn to know what intuition really is. A lot of people rely on symbols and astrology and different forms of pseudosciences or new age methods, in a sense, to figure out answers to different questions. And a lot of people stay in a very rudimentary and esoteric intuition, which is, just a gut feeling, which is just like a symbol or it's like a vague word, right? But a lot of the time, intuition relies on not just symbolism, but also on rationalization. So remember to also think critically about the theories that you use and consume and study, and learn to think and be consistent in the rules that you follow and the principles that you apply to understand something, right? So while intuition is a highly powerful tool and we should not be afraid of using intuition and the quality of your intuition is directly proportional also to your ability to apply rational principles to afterwards decode the results of your intuitions, right? So to see, did this intuition really come true? Did this really happen? Did this really, manifest itself? Or did I make some kind of logical leap? Did I have some kind of bias? Did I, mistake intuition for fear or confusion or anxiety? Or did I produce an idea in my head that wasn't based on the real world, based on negative feeling or shame or the vulnerability or a flaw in myself, right? A lot of the time, it's important to spend time on introspection and self-reflection here, to notice and to pay attention to who you are. So pay attention to the resources that you have, and you yourself are a resource, right? So your emotional makeup and well-being and health, your level of neuroticism, your level of agreeableness, your level of extroversion or openness or conscientiousness, all of these are factors that you need to consider. So when making plans and strategies, it's very important that you plan around yourself, right? So you can make a plan around what kind of Superman would do, right? But you're not Superman, you're a human being, right? So you have to make a plan around a human being. And so the next hack is make sure that when you make plans and when you make strategies, that you accurately account for and plan around your own needs and who you are, right? So if you notice that you're going to need downtime, time to rest, time to think, if you're going to notice that you're going to have certain anxieties in regards to relationships and in regards to work, if you notice that you're going to have different problems, plan around them effectively and make sure that you circumvent them and that you don't trip over yourself. Because if you trip over yourself before you even got started on a strategy, it was not a very good strategy to begin with. I'd also say remember the value of play. So a lot of the time you can get stuck in this idea that you have to obsessively focus on a strategy or a plan of action or something that needs to happen in a certain way, but it's very important to learn to make sure that you also give yourself time for play. Now, why is that important, you might think? Every single time you spend playing is a waste of time. It's a minute or an hour that you could have spent working towards your goals, right? Towards realizing your plans and ideas, right? But no, actually, play seems to be exactly what you need to make sure that your plans are healthy and sustainable. So if you're not able to effectively engage in play and rest, what you're going to find is you're going to exhaust yourself, you're going to burn out, and you're going to crash, and your plan is going to go to hell, right? So if you're not able to mix and match between play and planning and work and relaxing mode, right? Like if you're not able to take these things into account and plan around both of them, your plan is not sustainable, and you need your plan to be sustainable, and you need it to be something that you think you can realistically execute and function as a human being doing. So yeah, those are my hacks for INTJs and INFJs. I hope that you appreciate this video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you all in the next video.